everybody. It's Steven and Walter here for another episode of So Chatty. And let's jump right into what I have been making, and then we're going to look at what Walter's been making. You can already see one of his fine creations, which he had on Steven and Walter Live the other day.
Yeah, I did.
Do you ever wash a shirt? No.
No, never.
No, stinky. Keeps the collar nice and stiff, though, and everything else. Okay, so what have I been working on? Well, let's see. Here we go. It's done. It's completely finished. My Healing Waters quilt. It's the one that I've written a pattern for, which will be available to all of you for free if you so want it, after the retreat. On April 18th is when the retreat is. So after that, because this is going to be part of the virtual swag bag for everybody that comes to the retreat, that have signed up for it. More about the retreat in a moment. But first, let's just take a look at this. I am very pleased with the way it turned out. Walter said he liked it, and you weren't sure at one point why. Okay, Am I interrupting you?
Well, no. I just got a message from Gail.
Is she coming?
Yeah, in about an hour.
Gail is a friend of ours, and I've been doing a 3D print of a little table for a sewing machine that she bought secondhand because it didn't come with an extended table. And yeah, I did actually do it. But she's starting a program. She is an office manager at a middle school, and she is starting a sewing program with grade 4s. She's got about 41 signed up for it. So she's been collecting these old machines. So yeah, she's coming over to pick it up at some point. So that's good to know. And so now that we've interrupted our programming for this, back to our regularly scheduled program, my quilt. Healing Waters. Pattern is written. The pattern for this will work with any panel, any fabrics you want to use to go with that. So basically in that swag bag, there's going to be 3 patterns, but they all look the same, just different fabrics. One is the Quilt of Valor one that you've already seen that I made a couple of months ago and did the pattern for it. Then there's this one, and then something I call Pick Your Own Journey. Kind of thing, sort of like one of those books where you pick your own ending onto it, because all it is it's the instructions, but you won't see any fabric with it. You'll just see outlines for the blocks and everything like that. I have tested it. I think those patterns are okay. Someone will probably find something to improve upon it, and they'll probably tell me. So yeah, well, if you do, you do. But anyways, that's not going to be available to anybody until the retreat. And then after that, that'll just be for the retreat people. After that, it'll be for everybody. It'll be free. And I will give you the details of how you get that when we get there. Okay, that's one thing. And then this one. This is the African Safari. I always want to say African Lion Safari from that place in Western Ontario, that has, you drive through and the monkeys pee on you on the windshield and do other unsightly things that only monkeys can do. Anyways, this is the African Safari Table Runner. And this is an In the Hoop project. And I decided to double the blocks. All the blocks are different, the panels, but they have you put it in one long row, and it's skinny. They fill it out by putting about 3 or 4 borders on it, which I think takes away from the actual panels, because that's really your focal point. So what I did is what you see in front of you. I put the panel, since it's already a reflection in each one of them, you sort of got another reflection. So, everybody...
Plus you can sort of turn it either way around.
Yeah, right? You can put it either way around. And oftentimes on table runners that have like embroidered patterns on them, people on one side of the table see the whole thing. The other people on the other side see it upside down. This way, it doesn't matter where they sit. They'll see them either way. Each panel is different. And then I had some African fabrics, which I'm really not pleased with the quality of these African fabrics. I got them some time ago, quite a long time ago. I don't think they are the best selection of African fabrics, but they'll work with this. So I put 2 borders on it. And then there's my backing and the backing is the same as the binding. So it's all done. And I think it turned out quite nice. But there is something that I put this up and showed this on, no, I didn't show the finished quilt, but I showed pieces of it before I put the pieces together and put the borders on it. And one of my subscribers wrote me a comment and says, in the African, she called it an African quilt. At first I thought she meant the one I just showed you, but that's not an African quilt. It's an indigenous fabric. I got the hiccups. So I assume she meant this one. She was talking about the reflection. Okay, she says, in the bottom row, one of the panels looks like there's something missing in the reflection. Is that on purpose? And I thought, what are you talking about? If you look bottom row and go from left to right and go 1, 2, 3, the fourth one over, see this? This is supposed to be water. And there's these. But if you look at the other ones, the water reflects what's in the sunshine or the moonshine. This one has this. And I looked at it more closely, and it looks like the tops of trees. They didn't finish it. This was not my fault. This was in the actual file. And I think my theory is this. A lot of these panels have these trees. So, and they all have like this moon or sun, and they all have the water, and they all have the same quilting. I think what they did was when they made one of these panels, when they're making the other ones, if there were elements from the other ones they could use in a panel, that would save them some time in the designing of it because they'd already have those programmed, right? They forgot to remove this part. They didn't want that part in there.
Something, I looked at it, it doesn't look like tops of trees. It looks like two hippos with their mouths open.
Oh, you're right. It is.
Upside down.
It's upside down. Those are supposed to be hippos in the water. Wait, then. That's not a reflection. That's supposed to be there. Because, okay, if you looked at it, turned it around and looked at it, the hippos are actually in the water. These hippos are eating. They're reflected. Okay, they're eating. If you look at it upside down, okay, they're eating the grass. There's a reflection in the water, but there's two other hippos in the water. Ah, I was thinking when I first looked at it, it was supposedly these trees or something, and they hadn't put. But no, that's what it is. That doesn't work.
No.
Everything else works. That's incongruent with it, and that's a designer. That's not my fault. That's the way it went. But sharp-eyed person saw it, and I wrote back to her and said, I had not seen this. I didn't realize that. But but that's what it is. They're hippos. In the water. Interesting. I mean, okay, I get the idea of hippos in the water. But because everything else is a reflection, that one stands out. That doesn't
make sense.
That doesn't work. Well, it does work. It's hippos in the water, but then you have two hippos that are upside down, but they're supposed to be reflection. So
they're not reflected on the part of the.
Well, they wouldn't be on the sun, right? Because they're hippos in water. But
that doesn't make sense.
No, well, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It's just I don't think they should be there.
No.
Because it doesn't work with the consistency of the other ones around. But interesting. Not that it takes away from the final product or anything, but it's kind of interesting. Might be a good thing if you've got a dinner party.
Find the mistake.
Find the one that doesn't belong. Keep your guests amused for days. Yeah. So anyways, I got those done, and let's see. Oh, the I don't have a picture of any of it yet because none of it is done. But I'm working on the Alaska quilt. Oh my God, quilt from hell. And I've already talked about the problems with that. I'm still having them. I almost went ahead and ordered from Amazon the actual templates as opposed to the ruler. I've been using the ruler. And you can get them on Amazon, and they're about Canadian Amazon. It's about $32 for the set, which isn't horrible. The only problem is I can't get them until the 18th of April, the shipping them. And I mean, I may not be too far ahead in the quilt anyways, so for that. But no, I'm going to persevere. Somebody suggested I use the Accuquilt system, and they sent me a link to a big explanation of how you can use the cube system we talked about last week for figuring out, from a pattern, how to use the equivalent. Well, I already thought of that, and I went through my cube boxes, and guess what? Every one of the cubes, and I have all the cubes, has the diamond shape, but none of them are the right size. None of them. It's an odd size. I even went as far as to try to make a template using Tinkercad, which is a cut down version of an AutoCAD program for designing things for 3D printing. And actually, I was really impressed with myself because I actually did it, but it's not the right size. And because it is a odd, like I did measurements, but I don't know enough about, because it's a diamond and it almost looks like a form of a trapezoid. And when you measure and try to get my brain can't get around that. I'm not good at AutoCAD. I came close though, which is more than I've ever done before in Tinkercad. So I was kind of proud of that fact. Too bad it's not going to work. But I have the ruler and I'm thinking to myself, oh, just persevere with it. Just use the ruler. I can make it work. So, and it's not really the cutting out of the shapes that bug me. It's putting them together because she didn't give you any real sewing instructions for lining pieces up, as I said before. So I haven't gotten very far with it. I'm hoping this weekend on the pop-up sew day I might do some work on it. Maybe, we'll see. I think it's going to frustrate me to no end, and then I'm going to get mad, and then I'm going to set the whole room on fire. So yeah, could be delightful. I'll make a video. All right, what have you been working on?
Well, I finished this shirt, and I've started another shirt, which I've gotten a little ways with it. It's out of this material. It's sort of a multicolored material.
Mm-hmm. I like that material. It looks like stained glass.
Yeah. So.
Or looks like a Game Boy or a Pac-Man.
Yeah, sort of. So I kind of appealed to me, so
Pixely.
I got it.
Kind of pixely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyways, that's an ongoing project as well. Speaking of ongoing projects, what's Walter up to with his free motion quilting?
Well, I haven't done anything in the last few days.
Mm-hmm.
Steve put a new piece of fabric on.
Well, I had to take off what he had on there so I could get the healing quilt on there. And then you bought a couple of bed sheets.
Yeah.
And I've sandwiched those, put them up on him all ready for him to do his next round. What's your next plan though now that you're
Well, I was gonna look at it again maybe tonight and try a different pattern or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought of maybe sectioning off sections and
Mm-hmm.
doing some patterns in a like a triangle or something,
Oh,
or
yeah.
smaller box or something, just to mimic an actual quilt.
How are you going to section it off?
Well, I'll just draw a line like from corner to
you're just
corner
going to draw.
or something.
Okay,
like
fine. Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds like fun. I am putting together a quilt for him to actually work on. It's just going to be half square triangles from scraps, kind of a thing. So he actually gets a feel for what it's like to ride over a seam, and he wants different areas where you can try different things in it. So yeah, I have all the half square triangles sorted together. I have to trim them and then sew them all together. Yeah, another thing to do. We had a little problem though with Lucy. So I told you that I took off what he was working there and I got the other one up there ready to go. And I'm working along with Lucy and she seems to be cooperating, although I wondered how long that would last for because she and Walter are having this little affair with each other and Lucy don't love me no more. Of course, I don't think Lucy ever loved me. So I'm working away on it, and I think the first time this happened, I went to pull the thread up, bob and pull, and it told me, you need to raise the needle. Huh? I am raising the needle. What do you mean, raise the needle? So I manually the needle was already up, but I manually controlled it, and it seemed to work, but it did it again. And then another time it came up with saying, no power to the machine or something like that. What's going on? Well, there is a plug that we had to unplug when we separate it. It's kind of like Star Trek. The saucer separates from the rest of the ship. We had to separate this part that holds the computer components away from the main head of the machine. It's just a couple of levers that you pull up and slide it apart. But you have to undo one of the cables that makes the connection between these two parts. And it's one of those cables that has one of those stupid plastic clips on it, that holds them in. Well, the plastic clip broke off. So what was happening, the vibration of the machine was jiggling it loose because there wasn't that clip to really hold it in secure. And so it was losing its connection, and that's why I was getting these commands. So I got out masking tape and whatnot and tried to temporarily hold it in so I could finish the quilt. And I did eventually get the quilt finished. But we had a spare cable. And actually it was very easy to replace it. I was surprised at how easy it was. We just had to take off a little front panel on it with some screws and unplug the old cable, and the new cable, it plugged right in, clips on it, bingo, presto. And these are better cables. The APQS, and I was told this by our APQS dealer, she recommended that if we ever had to replace any of the cables, to buy this certain type of cable, because she said they're better, they're stronger. They have a piece that comes out from the plug part so that because of the movement of the cable up and down, it doesn't wear through. Whereas the ones APQS put on are cheap. You know, you would think when you drop, $30,000, $40,000 on a machine, they could actually spring for better cables. Like, hello, maybe they do now. I don't know. But so I had spare ones, and it was very easy to put it in. So that was very happy about that. Wish I had done that before I started quilting that quilt, because I had one other little problem, which I did not discover until after I finished quilting it and I was squaring it up. Turned it over. There was a tiny hole, actually a rip, in my backing fabric where the needle had dropped in one of these cases where it wasn't going up in that, and I must have moved the machine because I didn't realize it was doing that, and it made a nice little, just a tiny one, less than an inch long, little L piece. So a little flap. And I'm going, shit. I'm glad it didn't go all the way through. It was just on the backing. But you know me and hand sewing, it doesn't happen. But I have labels. So now there is a label, and I did not hand sew it. I used Steam a Seam 2. And Steam a Seam 2 will stand up to being washed, although this quilt will probably never see the inside of a washing machine because it's not a utility quilt. It's a decorative quilt kind of a thing. So I put and I had a bunch of labels made at one point in time on Spoonflower with my logo and everything. So I just slapped that sucker on there, and nobody's the wiser. And it was actually in a spot where it's kind of logical to put a label too. So that was a lucked out. But, I wonder, has there ever been a time when I've used Lucy when I haven't had drama?
I don't know.
I don't think so. But anyways, he never has any problems. And he abuses her. He just slaps her around up and down there. He doesn't even pull up his bobbin thread half the time. And that's
what I do. I always pull up the bobbin thread.
You do not.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
I've moved the machine in the morning and it's still cut. And then I cut
Well, no, I don't necessarily I don't necessarily, when I shut down the machine, I don't cut the bobbin thread.
Well, you should.
Okay, fine. I'll do that next time.
You're developing bad habits.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
I told you.
No, you didn't tell me that.
You just didn't listen.
No, you told me if I moved the machine off to the side that I needed to do that. You didn't say if I decided to stop in the middle of the quilt that I needed to do that.
I guess I assumed, and when you assume, you make an ass of you and me. Yeah. Whatever, he'd have an excuse. He and Lucy are peas in a pod, the two of them. They just, both against me. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so, Walter's carrying on with his FMQ journey, and we'll keep you up to date on how he is developing with this. Okay, announcements. Sewing with Steven on Wednesdays. Links in the show notes. You know the drill. We haven't had that many people lately. It's been dwindling. Is it something I said?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't really abuse people on there much.
Well, it could be just the time of the year.
I think it's the time of the year. Like, but we're always open to new people as well. I keep telling you that, but do we get you? No. So, but it's there for you. Okay? So, links in the show notes. Pop-up Sew Day this Saturday, March the 21st, first day of spring. Welcome in spring with a pop-up Sew Day with your favorite idiot, me. Hope to see lots of people there or whatever. Enjoy the day, get some stuff done. you know, we're all suffering though probably from cabin fever at this time of the year. At least those of us in the frozen north are of the world. But what a great way to enjoy the day amongst like-minded people. So that's that link went out to everybody on my mailing list. It's also in the show notes for this today and for the Idiot Quilter on Tuesday, past Tuesday, and Monday's Coffee with Steven. And just before I forget, because I think I got that piece I took that piece out of the video. I was saying in one part of the video though that this coming Monday's Monday morning coffee with Steven was going to be a live one because I'm going to do a live one in the last Monday of every month. Well, I kind of got ahead of myself because the next Monday that comes up is not the last Monday of the month. It'll be the following week. So I think I cut that piece out, but in case anybody's confused, next Monday's coffee with Steven, Monday morning coffee with Steven, is not live. It'll be pre-recorded as usual. The Monday after will be a live event at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know, so those of you that can join me then do, but that's not this Monday coming. It's next Monday. Did I mention that? That it's not this Monday, it's next Monday? What's this Monday? Let's see, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. It'll be the 30th. March 30th. Okay. All right, we got that. Yes, and next week, the video I've been promising you that tells you all the ins and outs about the retreat will be posted on YouTube probably either next Monday or next Tuesday. It will tell you how you register, when you can register, who the guest speakers are, and it gives you a rundown of the day and everything like that. Also, I will be sending all that same information out in a PDF file to, actually, I'll be putting a link to a PDF file to everybody that's on my mailing list. And in the show notes for that video as well, there'll be that same PDF. There'll be a link to it too. So there's all the information in oral form, visual form, and written form for you. So there shouldn't be any confusion. But if there is, you can always email me and I'll be happy to give you whatever information you feel you need still. Okay, so that'll be next week. Just so you know, registration does not open, however, until April the 4th, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, April the 4th. That'll be in the video and in the printouts as well. And the retreat is April the 18th, Saturday, April the 18th. Okay, so main topic today. Last week we talked about using an overview of the Accuquilt system, and we went to their website and talked about all the different things they have and what's available. So this week I have prepared a little video showing you the basics of using an Accuquilt. Now this is going to be the a part from a series of things that I'll be doing with Accuquilt over the next few weeks. So I'm going to plug that video in here right now. So last time I took you to the Accuquilt website and we talked about the different dies you can buy and the different machines you can buy and the different accessories you can buy. And I mentioned the cube sets, which I have quite a few of, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right on that wall back in here are all my cube sets. I have them from 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, 9-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch. And I have some of the companion ones as well. And they all come in these really nice boxes, which are very substantial. They're a very, very thick type of cardboard. And they keep everything very nicely organized. So if you're going to start with Accuquilt, I recommend getting a starter kit with your machine and one that comes with one of the cubes as well. And my favorite cube is the 8-inch because it does, almost everything. They are expensive, as I said. You can get them on sale at times. So watch for those sales as well. It is an investment. Okay, so today I thought I'd talk about the three basic types of dies that I use. And the first type that I use, and I'm going to move the camera down here so you can see, is this long one right here. Let me get those out of the shot. Now this is a bigger die, but that's because it's a strip die. It cuts 3 2.5-inch strips, And if you fold your fabric from selvage to selvage, you can get a strip that is the length of a full piece of fabric. Now, they do recommend when you're cutting with Accuquilt that you cut with the selvage parallel to the cut lines. Now, I know you can't see the cut lines very well in this. They're there, they're faint. So you would put the selvage of your fabric. Let's pretend this piece of fabric, that's the selvage up there. So you would have the selvage along here. That just keeps the fabric from fraying a little less and stretching. However, when I'm cutting for binding strips, and I want as long as strips as I possibly can get, so there's less pieces I have to sew together, I will place my selvage at one of the ends of the die and cut it this way. Now you'll notice that the edges of my fabric are crooked. It doesn't matter. This is a rough cut. You're going to be straightening it as you cut with the die, so you don't have to worry about that. It's really kind of pointless for you to take out your rulers and cut nice straight pieces of fabric, because there is going to be some waste with this. And that is one of the common complaints a lot of people have about Accuquilt, is that there tends to be a little bit more waste in fabric than other cutting methods. However, to get things straight, to do a lot at once, for the speed of it, and for the sake that it's going to be easier on your hands, then I think, the waste is not really a problem. At least it's not for me. So I'm going to show you how to cut with your die. So I've got my strip die here. I've got my piece of fabric. I lay it on top, and there are markings on this that show you where the cut line goes to, where the edge of it is. So you want to be above that. And my piece of fabric is just a little too long. So I'm just going to fold it up from the bottom and place it on here. Okay, the next thing you need to do is take a cutting mat. Now you buy these with your dies. Not every die comes with a cutting mat. The cubes will come with some smaller ones, and I'll show you the smaller ones in a moment. But you usually need to buy this, and you have to have it. And they do wear out. So you'll want to buy, several of them. They're not that expensive. I think they're under $20 for these big ones. The smaller ones are a little less. But it's important you have one of these, because there are blades inside your die. And in these little grooves that are here, I don't recommend you pushing your fingers down on these. These are very, very sharp in here. They're like razors. But with the pressure of the machine, the rollers in the machine, it presses that fabric into that, and that's how it cuts. So you have to have a mat, because otherwise, if you were to cut it with just the fabric with no cutting mat, those blades would come up and cut right into your rollers on your machine, and that damages your machine. So you take your fabric, you put it onto the die, making sure you're between the top and bottom lines. Put your cutting mat on top of that, and then you put it through your machine. Now, the machine that I'm going to show you today is the Accuquilt Go Big Machine. And this machine, let me pull it a little bit here so you can get a better look at it. It's a big machine. It can handle pretty much all of the dies that Accuquilt sells. There are a couple that are bigger that go for their studio machine, but that machine is basically an industrial machine. And it's very, very expensive. And so are the dies for it. Okay, so once we've made our little sandwich here, because this is electric, I'm turning it on. You just put it up to the opening and gently push it in until the machine grabs it, and away it goes all by itself. Now, there is a platform you can buy that can fit on the back of this to support the die as it comes out of the machine. I don't have it because I don't have any place to set up my machine permanently. I have a little storage area underneath my cutting mat here, and that is where it sits. And I just pull it up and unfold it as you just saw me do when I need it. So let me move this off to the side. They are very heavy, these machines. So I have cut this now. Now the best way to get this cutting mat off, don't just lift it up because it'll pull some of your pieces with it. It'll stick to it because they're static under here. So you just take your hand and rub it vigorously over the top of it, and then sort of slide your cutting mat to the side, and then you can lift it up without any problem. Now, here is waste. So remember what I said about waste? This machine will waste fabric, but the payoff is nice, straight strips. And here are 3 2.5-inch strips right there. So when you're making binding, it does make fast work of it. And that is what I really use my Accuquilt for the most, is for making binding. Okay, so there are many strip dies in various sizes. You can go as low as I think 1.5 inches up to I think about 6 inches. So you've got binding strips, sashing strips, and border strips that you can make with the various dies for strip cutting. All right, so that's one of the main categories of dies. Another category is, of course, dies like this that cut out all the pieces for a block. Now there's this one, this is the bear paw, and it's basically a bob, a block on board. It means you only need one die, and you put your fabric on here, and these pieces will all go together to make one bear claw unit. You'll notice that they are lettered A, B, C, D. That's because you use different colors of fabric for these pieces. And when you buy an Accuquilt die, it comes with an instruction sheet that shows you exactly how to assemble your pieces. You can also get it right from online if for some reason you lose that piece of paper or the cardboard insert that goes with these. Very easy to use. Now the one thing that is a bit of a problem with this kind of die though is you notice these pieces are very close together. So if you're laying your fabric over these, there's going to be some overhang. So this takes a little bit more time than when you're cutting, especially if you're using multiple colors. Now, if you're using all the same color, or if you were making up a number of these particular blocks and you knew that you were going to use, say, 4 colors of fabric in different organizations, in different layout schemes, you could put one color across this whole block and get all those pieces, then your second color and your third color, etc. The other thing that's kind of nice is here, these B's in this particular one, these are half square triangles. So you don't need to draw the line and sew a 1/4 inch on either side, then trim it down. These will be exactly the size that you need. And the corners are already, the dog ears have been taken off, and that's how you line up the pieces. You put the right sides together and line up the little corner parts. They fit right together very nicely, and sew your seam. And bingo, open it up, press it, you've got your half square triangle. So it saves a couple of steps from the traditional way of making half square triangles. So that's a speed item as well. Again, you have a cutting board. This one's designed for this size of die. Is there anything else I can tell you about these kind of dies? There are many of these because they make many, many different blocks. And sometimes certain dies that you buy will make more than one kind of block as well. And you can mix and match as well. Again, these are not cheap. One like this probably runs about $110, $120 Canadian for it. It might be more now. It's been a while since I bought one. And this particular one, if you're interested, has a bear paw with the pieces that are here. Okay, another one is one that cuts very specific shapes. For example, I bought this circle die. I actually have two circle dies in my set. This one does, excuse me for that. This one does very large circles, and I'm not sure, is it marked? Usually they mark what your dies do on the ends. This one, it does not. So, yeah, it did, and it got peeled off because I've used this one quite a bit. But usually there's a sticker on here telling you what the die is, like on the bear paw. Yeah, here on the bear paw, it has the number of the die, and there's a barcode. There is an app. I don't know if it's still supported where you can inventory all of your dies using that barcode, which is handy if you're buying more, so you don't, spend a lot of money and buy a duplicate, because it can happen. So, as I said, this one's very, very handy when you need circles, and it's got a variety of sizes, and it works just like the other two dies. You put your fabric on it, put it through the machine, and cut it. But you'll notice the size of this one. Oops, sorry. Okay, my machine has no trouble handling it. But if you were to get one of the smaller machines, one of the more portable ones with a crank on it, for example, or the smaller electric one, this die would not fit in that. So you want to make sure that the die that you're interested in will work in the machine that you have. And they will tell you on the website which dies will work in which machines. Most of their dies will work in most of the machines, but you don't want to double check that kind of thing. And of course, this has a cutting mat as well, just a little bit bigger. Now, you're going to ask, could you, if you didn't have this big cutting mat, could you use one of the smaller ones? Not really. Okay, let's just say you just wanted this circle here. Don't recommend it. It's going to make the board uneven because it'll tilt a little bit because of this. And also there's still the danger that the rollers inside your machine might come down onto the blades, and then, well, that's it. Getting your rollers replaced is not easy and is expensive. You might as well buy a new machine. So I don't recommend you use cutting mats that are smaller than the die. Can you use bigger ones for smaller ones? Yes, but not smaller ones on bigger ones. That's pretty logical, I think. Now, sometimes when you are using your die cuts or your dies, little threads will get over time caught down in between this foamy part here into the blade. And that will cause, just like a rotary cutter that has a nick in it, it'll cause a little bit of your fabric not to get cut. So you have to cut it by hand. But they have this handy little tool. It's a pick. Looks like a dental instrument almost. Two ends on it. And this will allow you to get right in there and clean out anything that may be trapped. And every now and then you will need to do this. Do not use a pen or a pencil because you could damage the foam. And don't ever use your finger because, believe me, these are really, really, really sharp. Ask me how I know. So you can see on the back of the package, it actually shows how to, use, okay, if I can get the glare off it, how to use the pick. Definitely a tool you want to invest in. I can tell you that. And they're not expensive. I think they were about $10, maybe a little bit more. Again, prices I'm quoting you are in Canadian dollars. So I'm not sure what the equivalent would be in American, but it will be less than that. Actually, here's the price tags right on it. It's less than I thought. I paid $8.99 for it. Yeah, so a good thing to have. All right, what else can I tell you about it? Well, cleaning your machine, keeping it clean. There is very little maintenance you need to do with these machines, and it doesn't matter whether you have a crank machine or an electric machine. You may want to occasionally wipe it down because there will be dust on it. Maybe if you've got an air blower, give it a little blow of air in here. Do not use any abrasive cleansers on it. Wipe down the outside. If you've got any kind of sticky on here, you'll want to use something that like rubbing alcohol, that kind of thing, to take it off. Do not use an abrasive cleanser. Again, you'll scratch up your machine. But generally speaking, there isn't any maintenance to really do with them except just wiping it down occasionally. And in fact, I should do that on the inside of here. This machine also, it comes with a brick, a power brick, and it plugs into the side. I'll just pull up the power brick so you can see it. There it is. And it has this kind of adapter end. And it just goes into the hole on the side. Now, it would have been nice if they had built the power system inside the machine itself and just had a standard type of cord, but they didn't. Probably because this is pretty big brick, and it would probably make the machine even heavier than it is now. And this is a heavy, heavy machine. This, although it folds up and has a handle, get it in the shot, right there, it weighs, well, I'd say it weighs about 20 pounds, maybe a little less than that, but yeah. So it isn't, although they tote it as being portable, I don't think it is that portable. You can get other models that are. Now, speaking of which, let me grab my other Accuquilt, and I'll explain to you why I have two Accuquilt machines. This machine I'm about to show you, I never use. So why do I have two? Let's see if I can. There we go. Ooh, dusty. It's been sitting in a spot with a lot of dust. Okay. This one is not a powered one, which makes it a little bit more convenient if you were to take it to a retreat. It also doesn't weigh as much as the other one. And it all folds up. So you just take these handles and there you go. So how does it work? Well, basically the same way, except it's hand crank. So you put your die in here and you just, I'm not going to do it because I don't have, well, I could put one on here to show you, I guess. So here's my cutting mat. I don't have any fabric in it, but that's okay. And you just push it and you crank it. You get a little exercise here. Now, the thing is, if you have a problem, I'll run the other one. If you have a problem with arthritis or that, you may want to invest in an electric machine. But you do the same thing. You rub that, take it off, take out your pieces. And when you're done, it just folds right up like that. Now I'm going to tell you, come up here to me, why I have two machines. I had a problem with my electric one. It's my first machine that I bought. And I just showed you the power brick and I showed you the adapter plug. Well, that adapter plug goes into the side of the machine and it goes on a pin. The pin dropped off after only a few uses. And I was very gentle with it. So I took it back to where I bought it from, Quilter Quilting, and they were excellent. Zach, one of the people that works there, and it's his family that owns the store, he fixed it for me. And then it broke again. And basically, the problem was the adapter plug that went onto that pin inside of the machine, it was too big. The pin was too big for the adapter, so you had to force it. And that was a flaw in the manufacturing of this, but Accuquilt will never admit that that was a flaw. We sent them notes about that. They never answered back. And this is what I said the last time we were talking about Accuquilt. Their customer service at that time, this is a few years ago, was not very good. I don't know if it's gotten any better. I don't know if they've changed that design either on the newer machines. I hope they have. But Zach, long story short, Zach was excellent. He didn't want to send it back to the company because we're in Canada. It had to go way down into the United States somewhere, and heaven only knows when I get it back. And at that point in time, I was using my Accuquilt. It was relatively new, so I was using it a lot. So he had to do some investigation on how to fix it. Long story short, he fixed it. He fixed it well. I'm always very, very careful when I'm plugging it in and unplugging it, though, just to make sure. But that's probably the strongest part of the whole internal workings of this machine now after Zach got done with it. And just a shout out to Kawartha Quilting. Customer service, second to none. They are wonderful. He could have turned around and said, okay, we'll send it back to Accuquilt because they are an authorized dealer, but I would probably be without the machine for months, maybe even a year. Who knows with that? So just on the off chance that it would have to go back to the States, I bought this one, the portable model. It's my backup machine. It's also, if I ever go to a retreat and I want to use my Accuquilt, I would take this one with me over the electric one because, again, lighter, more portable. Okay, so what else can I tell you about the machines? You have to look at what's on the website, look at the description of each one, look at what they come with, because sometimes there's specials, like starter kits on them, and err on the side of buying a machine that's a little bigger than what you think you need. Because you know, if you buy too small a machine, there will be dies that'll come out that you will not be able to use with that machine. So think about it. Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more money, but it's an investment, as I said. So, you know, it behooves you not to consider future expansion, let's say. Okay, I don't think there's much more I can tell you about the machines and the dies. And there are hundreds of dies that you can get, and they all have Accuquilt has put out all kinds of patterns for the various dies, and they're all free, those patterns. They run a program all the time on YouTube showing you what's the latest things that you can do with your dies. Overall, it is a great system. It's too bad that it costs so much money because it really puts it out of range for some people. But as I said, it's great for speed. There is waste in fabric, but it's great for people who have mobility issues with their hands or hand, you know, arthritis or something like that as well. They're also great if you're going to use it a lot and you want to take it to a retreat. That's where I would say, okay, get yourself one that's like this one because it's a little bit more portable than the big Go Big on that. Okay, so if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the show notes below, and I'd be happy to answer them the best of my ability. I am not an expert. If you want an expert on using the Accuquilt system, check out Rose Garden Creations. He is an ambassador for Accuquilt and has all kinds of tips and tricks that are all very handy. Just do a Google search for him. Yeah, so I hope you were interested in this. Next week, we're going to look at another add-on feature that's kind of cool, and that is coupling your Accuquilt dies with embroidery files that are available. We'll talk all about the ins and outs of that too then. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's episode. Any final comments that you'd like to make?
It was a great video.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you would like to make some comments for the video, and I like to share the comments as I did with the one from the person who told me about that thing on the African table runner, please.
Did you show the African table runner down here?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay, just double. I'd say double check.
Oh, one thing I didn't show you though is this. This was a gift I just got today. It is a wonderful, I don't know if you call it a crossbody bag or whatever, but it has pockets in here, shallow pockets, and in the main pocket, and I was told this is to keep pickpockets from getting into it. The main pocket is accessed from the back. There's probably a joke there. You go in through the back door, and I think it's stuffed full of paper at the moment to give it some shape. But this was made by one of my subscribers, Teresa DeYong, and she was here today. We met in person because she is the recipient of a couple of my old printers. And so she came all the way from her home, and she's a ways away from us, so she drove down today, and this is the lovely little gift she gave me for the printers, and I love it. I think it's really nice. Now, she does have a business where she makes these. I don't know if she's got a website or not. Her business is called, I'm not sure how to say it. It looks like Yaz Originals, but it's spelled Y-Z-O-R. Well, it's Y-Z, then the word original, and at the end of original, another Z, Originals. So Yaz Originals, I think. So if you look that up, I don't know. I should have looked up beforehand to see if I didn't ask her today whether she had a website, because I don't know. Maybe she takes them to craft fairs and sells them there. But it's really nicely made. Nice fabric in it.
Yeah.
Great strap, adjustable, the whole bit. So this is
very professional.
very professional. I mean, heavy duty zipper here and here, like really, really nice. So yeah, I will be using this for sure. So yeah, so thank you, Teresa. That was very thoughtful of you, and great bag. I wonder if she makes other different. She probably makes other bags too. I'll have to explore a little bit more on, see if she's got a website for this. I should have asked her when she's here, but we were talking 3D printers and other things. So yeah, you know, time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so nothing more from you?
Nope.
It was such a chatty Kathy. It's hard to shut you up today. So that's it. So have a great week. We'll see you on Stephen and Walter Live on Sunday. Bye.
Bye.
Hi. I'm just going to interrupt my program for just 1 second to remind you to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for future notifications. That's all I ask of you. Show me a little love. Thanks.